Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the Original Rebels Racing League Grand National Series here at the Red Bull Ring here in Austria. We want to thank you for joining us here on iRacing here tonight as we get ready for 130 kilometers here at the Red Bull Ring. 12 cars currently out on track. We see Garrett Kinder down at the end of pit road. Davy Jones trying to make his way around this tricky little road course here. Of course, they're running the 10 corner layout here tonight, which is the F1 layout. And there is no qualifying here tonight. We'll be going straight into the race. We'll take a look at our starting grid tonight. On pole will be the 54 of Daniel Cunningham with William Griffith to his outside. Row 2, Jonathan Cofield and Matt Kleeman. Eddie Smith and Jason Latridge will be rolling off from row 3 with Steve McDonald and Dave Jones back in row 4. Brandon Wallace and Mike Kosick will round out your top 10. 11th, we'll find Charles Stevens Jr., Jonah Colbert in the 12th position. Garrett Kinder and Tyler Rice rounding out the rest of the field here at the Red Bull Ring. Take a look at your points coming into tonight. Eddie Smith at the top of the board. Mike Kosick, Charles Stevens Jr., Jonah Colbert, Daniel Cunningham. You round out your top 5. You take a look at the top 15 as the field is making their way down to the start-finish line. Coming down to the front stretch. Pace car takes the hard right-hand turn down onto pit road as the field approaches the starter stand. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here at the Red Bull Ring. Again, we want to thank our great league, race sponsor tonight, Edwards Setups Racing, as Racing Setups, as the field makes their way down into turn 1 for the first time and up the hill down to turn 2, which is really just a little kink to the right as they make their way down the long straightaway to turn number 3. Hairpin as they make their way uphill again. Down another long straightaway that's not really much of a straightaway as we got some issues back here. Matt Kleeman looks like he might have had an issue back here. Let's take a quick look, see what happened to the driver of the 19 machine. Making his way down to the hairpin. Looks like he may have just locked him up. Yeah, he didn't actually have an incident. He just had to slow down too much. And up front, the 54 of Daniel Cunningham pulling away from William Griffith. Now, this is a little bit different format than we normally have here. We have a 3-stage format, which is actually 3 separate races. So right now we see our first 7-lap race as Dave Jones is battling with Garrett Kinder. As they rocket down the hill and onto the front stretch. See Jonah Colbert up into the 10th position, rocking that awesome Red Bull paint job. And we've completed our first lap here with Daniel Cunningham out in front of William Griffith. But right behind, we see the 87 of Eddie Smith making a move on the outside of Jonathan Cofield to take over that 3rd position. As they make their way down to the hairpin, down turn number 3. Cofield still has the position on the inside. Ooh, sounds like an issue in the back. Something just happened to Jonah back here. Let's see if we can see what happened to the 31 of Jonah Colbert. Oh, ran into the back of Brandon Wallace as they were all checking up for the hairpin. But fortunately for these guys, even though they do have no resets here in this league, they do sort of have a reset, as each race is its own race, or each stage is its own race. So they'll be able to reset and get a brand new car if they need to. Kevin Kinder says, hello, y'all. Hello, Kevin. Garrett Kinder already up 7 positions into the 6th position as they make their way down onto the front stretch. Let's ride along with Kinder here as we go on board with the 13 machine down the hill to the front stretch, down the front stretch, downhill to the Nicky Lauda corner, which is actually uphill and to the right. We make our way down this long straightaway, which isn't really much of a straightaway. You see it kind of curves a little bit. This is turn number 2, up and to the left. A little kink. So they're hard on the brakes for turn 3, which is the hairpin. Then you've got a long straightaway downhill. And downhill to the right, and we're going to interrupt this lap because we've got a battle up near the front. Eddie Smith has just gotten around William Griffith to take over the 2nd position. Let's take a look at the replay, see how Eddie did it down to the inside. Ooh, Eddie's locked up the brakes just a little bit, but he was able to make that move stick and move himself up into 2nd place. And now he's got a 6-second interval between him and Daniel Cunningham. Charles Stevens Jr. and Garrett Kinder now, as Kinder makes his way around the 88 to move himself up into the 6th position. You see Jonah Colbert running the wide, trying to find his way around the 68 of Jonah Colbert. See if Jonah can outbrake Steve McDonald down into the Nicky Lauda turn, which he will, to take over that 7th position. As they make their way down into the hairpin. And downhill down this not so straightaway down to turn 4. As Colbert is gaining on Charles Stevens Jr. in front as he makes his way through the Roush turn. Mike Kosek now around William Griffith to take over the 3rd position. So Griff had a great start up front. Unfortunately, falling back just a little bit right now. As we see Kosek really using those curbs aggressively to try to get around this track. Ooh, some contact between Griff and Kosek there. Sorry, between Griff and Kosek, as we see Eddie Smith starting to pull away from those two. A little further back, Jonah Colbert making his move down towards turn number 1. Charles Stevens Jr. with the aggressive inside lane there, trying to defend, but Jonah just too strong on that outside. And here comes Jonathan Cofield trying to get around Stevens as well. Now Garrett Kinder running up on the back bumper of William Griffith. And Daniel Cunningham did have about a 6-second lead over Eddie Smith a few moments ago. Now Daniel Cunningham's lead is just under 5 seconds, so Cunningham flexing his muscles here at the road course here tonight. I just realized I thought he was running a Red Bull scheme, but it's actually a Rowdy Energy scheme that looks like Red Bull. So that's a interesting paint job there tonight. Playing some tricks on the eyes. As Eddie Smith has Mike Kosick trying to battle him for that second position, and Kosick not able to get around Smith. And that corner right there, turn number 2, is the slowest turn on the track. And it's one of the best places to pass, a great braking zone. As just behind we see Garrett Kinder, William Griffith going at it. Kinder's going to slide himself up into the 4th position. And Kosick has taken over 2nd place from Eddie Smith. Daniel Cunningham makes his way down onto the straightaway here. I'm sorry. That was turn 9. Now he comes off turn number 10 down to the front stretch. He's going to receive the white flag last lap of this stage. He makes his way down into turn number 1. A little further back, Jonathan Cofield battling with Jonah Coburn. Jonah's giving a little bit of a draft to that 58 machine as Cofield going to try to pound it into turn number 1. See if he's able to retake that position. He's to the outside of Jonah, and he's going to take that position easily. So Jonah looks like he's struggling a little bit in this late part of the race. Yeah, it looks like Jonah's actually been off track, so he might have a little bit of damage. Those sausage curbs, those big yellow curbs that you see, actually cause quite a bit of damage to the cars if they run them over. So we'll see if Jonah's just struggling for grip or if he actually damaged his car. Fortunately, at the end of this lap, they'll be able to jump into some fresh cars and do it all over again. See Daniel Cunningham making his way down through the S's. Down into Rent. It makes his way towards turn number 10, and winning the first stage here tonight will be the 54 of Daniel Cunningham. Mike Kosick's going to come home in 2nd. Eddie Smith going to fall back to 3rd. There's a battle back here, though, for 4th, 5th, and 6th. As Garrett Kinder's going to take home 4th, William Griffith 5th, and Jonathan Cofield back in 6th. Jonah Coburn comes home 7th. Charles Stevens Jr. going to come across the line in 8th. Jason Lottridge back in 9th. Brandon Wallace in the 10th position. Steve McDonald comes home 11th. Tyler Rice comes off of the last corner here to bring it home in 12th in the first stage. Davy Jones in 13th, and Matt Kleeman going to round out the field. But again, getting the win here in the first stage is the 54 of Daniel Cunningham. We'll take a quick look again at the results when they pop up. We can just pop up the tower here and we can see those results right there as Matt Kleeman's just finishing up his lap. So stage 1's in the books as we get ready for stage number 2. While we got a moment, we want to thank our race sponsor, Edward Racing Setups, for sponsoring tonight's race. course, we're not going to be able to show it tonight, so we'll just go ahead and show it now. As we want to thank Kinder Farm and Ranch for being the Wreckage Rewind sponsor all season long. I do apologize. I have something on my screen I got to take care of before we get so cars are rolling here as we get ready to start stage number 2. And stage 2 will be the same starting order that they just finished the previous race in. Pace car getting ready to take that hard right-hand turn, on the pit road. Daniel Cunningham's going to lead them down to the starting zone. Again, fresh cars, fresh tires, a fresh start for some of these drivers, like Jonah Colbert, who had some damage on his car here as they come down to the starting zone. Green flag is in the air. We are back racing here at the Red Bull Ring. And a good jump for Mike Kosick up on the high side. So he's able to keep pace with Daniel Cunningham down into turn number 1. Garrett Kinder to the outside of Eddie Smith, trying to take over that third position. Smith, though, too strong. He's going to hold on to that third position as Mike Kosick is going to take the lead into the hairpin. Up the hill the field goes, all packed together again. We see a battle back here. William Griffith down on the inside of the track as they make their way through this little S section. We got some 3-wide racing. Jonah Colbert thought about forcing a 3-wide with William Griffith. Oh, we got one around. Brandon Wallace is around here, as well as Tyler Rice. They're going to try to get him routed in the right direction. Jonah Colbert battling to the outside of Charles Stevens Jr., trying to take that position away. Up front, Garrett Kinder up into the third position. But Daniel Cunningham and Mike Kosick currently running away. But it's still early. These tires are fresh. We know that as the tires wear off, drivers like Garrett Kinder start to rise to the top. As Jason Latridge is coming to the back bumper of Charles Stevens Jr., trying to take that position away. Almost ran into the back of Stevens. A little further up front, Garrett Kinder has Jonathan Cofield all over the back bumper as they make their way down and into the hairpin. Kinder, though, on that high lane, able to keep that momentum and stay out in front of Cofield. Now Cofield has Eddie Smith looking to the outside as they come down through the back, down the straightaway. If you haven't seen the track map, I'll put the track map up on the screen. This is a very interesting track layout, especially for these cars, as we see a big slide out of Cofield, but he's able to keep Eddie Smith behind him. So a lot of straightaways, so it allows for some great drafting, a lot of tight technical corners. Definitely a fun track for these guys out there tonight, but a very challenging track. As Mike Kosick makes his way down onto the front stretch to bring it to just 5 laps to go. William Griffith trying to make his way back through the field after having some issues. Just getting around the 10 of Dave Jones. Trying to run down the 99 of Brandon Wallace. So Jonathan Cofield trying to run Garrett Kinder down, but Kinder starting to pull away from that 58 car just a little bit as Eddie Smith is now all over the back bumper. As they say, that Cofield able to pull away from Smith just a little bit. This battle's continuing back there. We see some tire marks off to the right. Somebody took a trip through the grass there as Brandon Wallace taking a look down to the inside of Matt Kleeman. Here comes Griff through as well. And Kleeman's going to fall all the way back in the 12th. And up front, we see Mike Kosick continuing to pull away from Daniel Cunningham. The lead is now 4 seconds. And stick around with Cunningham and see if we can get a good look at this track as they make their way up through the hairpin, the slowest part of the track. Heavy on the brakes down into turn number 3. Just a great look from inside the car, just how tricky this racetrack is. A couple blind corners too. You really don't see what's going on the exit of that corner due to the elevation change. Ooh, big slide out of Cunningham. That's what makes a track like this so tricky with the blind corners. You don't know a great view here. You don't know what's at the other side of that crest. He runs way wide and uses every inch of racetrack there. Down to the front stretch. Ooh, some smoke on the front stretch. It looks like somebody, it's Tyler Rice, slow. So, great view of this beautiful track here that is the Red Bull Ring. Jonah Colbert, Eddie Smith battling at it for 4th place. And oh! Cunningham just goes off track. Garrett Kinder as well. And before that, I just noticed Mike Kosick had an issue. Mike Kosick way off pace. Gets off track and he just stops. And then we saw this incident involving Garrett Kinder and Daniel Cunningham, and it looks like Kinder just missed his braking zone, or I'm not sure what happened because Cunningham's able to continue on, but Kinder so not sure what happened to Kosick. We see Tyler Rice having some issues here. Oh, and he's right in front of Kosick. He came off the corner, hit the wall, and Kosick. Oh, that's what happened to Kosick. So a tough break for Kosick, and we're going to have to give that one the Cofield Asphalt Refinishing Tough Break of the Race Award, as leading, just nowheres to go. Catches the spinning car. So up front now, Cofield is your leader over Eddie Smith. Just how quickly things can turn here, as we have just 2 laps to go in stage number 2. And Jonah Colbert trying to get around Garrett Kinder. Actually, it was Kinder getting around Colbert. So Kinder doesn't look like he's got too much damage on the front of that car. He's able to make passes and continue on. As I say that, they both run Kinder runs incredibly wide, and Jonah Colbert's going to take that position away. And Jonah Colbert with this awesome Red Bull car. That's going to be the no-neck paint of the night. Let's see if we can, after this race is over, get a very good look at that car. But it's got some Ghost Bulls on it, and it's got a great look here for the Red Bull ring. So beautiful paint job. That is your no-neck paint of the night. But final lap is just started as Jonathan Cofield takes the white flag. He's got Eddie Smith behind. Eddie just over a second behind. Does Eddie have anything for Cofield as they make their way towards the hairpin on this final lap? Eddie Smith trying to run down that 58 of Jonathan Cofield. Here, just how softly Eddie has to get onto the throttle there, trying to keep that wheel spin from happening to cause him to completely lose touch of the 58. Eddie using every inch of the racetrack. But as they come through turns 9 and 10 for the final time, Jonathan Cofield is going to be your stage 2 winner. He's going to celebrate here down into turn number 1. Eddie Smith comes home in P2. Daniel Cunningham back in P3. Jonah Colbert going to cross the line in 4th. Garrett Kinder back in 5th. Jason Lottridge in 6th. Charles Stevens Jr. in 7th. As they all wreck down into turn number 1. Coming off of the final turn, Steve McDonald comes home in 8th. William Griffith back in the 9th position. And Brandon Wallace will bring it home in 10th. Dave Jones back in 11th. And Matt Kleeman is going to round out the rest of the field here at the Red Bull Ring. As Kleeman drifts it off the last corner. Loses it here. Going to burn those back tires down and make his way down to the start-finish line. So it looks like he's got another corner to go before he gets down onto this front stretch. And he comes across the line. So we're going to get ready for our final stage. Of course, we want to thank the fine folks over at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is established and trusted leader in haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker haptic transducers lets you feel ultra-low frequency sounds. Butt Kicker brand products are used and endorsed all around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers worldwide. Butt Kicker's practical design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim racing and gaming haptic hardware that reproduces immersive, accurate, powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one's right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. As we get ready to go here in our final race, we'll take a look at the grid, which was the final results for the last race as well. There we go. Jonathan Cofield, Eddie Smith, Daniel Cunningham, Jonah Colbert, Garrett Kinder, Jason Lottridge, Charles Stevens Jr., Steve McDonald, William Griffith, Brandon Wallace, Dave Jones, Matt Kleeman, Mike Kosick, and Tyler Rice was the results and the starting lineup for our final stage, which will be 16 laps long. So a little more than double here in the Edwards Racing Setups 130. Why 130, you ask? Because that's how many kilometers this race is here tonight. About 80 miles as Jonathan Cofield leads them down to the green flag. Green flag is back in here. We're back racing, and Eddie Smith with a great jump up on that high side as they go rocking down to turn 1. Cofield, though, able to keep Eddie Smith at bay as the field rockets off of turn 1 and down the crooked straightaway towards turn number 2. One car, that was Dave Jones, way in the back end, really squirrely off of the corner as the field makes their way down to the hairpin. And we see who's that? Daniel Cunningham thought about taking a look down to the inside of Garrett Kinder, was not able to make that move happen. Well, further back, we see William Griffith in a tight battle here as well as everybody's starting to get single file. Garrett Kinder's lost one position and has fallen back to 6th as he follows Griff around. Jonathan Cofield already starting to stretch his legs and get himself over a second lead over second place Eddie Smith. Kinder looking to the outside of William Griffith, trying to outbreak him. As the field makes their way off of turn number 8 down to the final 2 corners. Kinder trying to outbreak Griff down into turn number 9. Not close enough to make that move happen as they come off of 9 and through the final corner. And down this long straightaway. Ooh, Griff gets way off course. Kicks up a little bit of dust. That's going to allow Kinder to take a look down to the inside of Griff. Down into turn number 1. Kinder is going to outbreak that 12 machine. But here comes Griff fighting back hard on the high side. And Griff is going to hold on to that 5th position. A little further back, we see Charles Stevens Jr. battling with Jason Lottridge as they make their way up towards the hairpin. So move Stevens up a position. Here comes Kosick trying to take a look down to the inside of Jason Lottridge. Battles all over the track as Griff is able to slide away from Kinder. Now Kinder's going to fire back hard on the right side. He's going to have to tuck back in line after he got really, really loose there. Was not able to get the power down. Now Stevens taking a look down to the inside as Griff almost running wide off the track and through the gravel pit there. Using every inch of the racetrack. Great battle as Kinder goes back to the left side. I guess since we're at a road course, we're at a F1 track, we should say instead of getting loose. Oh, Kinder runs into William Griffith. And Kinder's going to lose a couple positions, fall back into 7th. As both Charles Stevens Jr. and Mike Kosick are able to get around. Now Kinder loops it. Way too much oversteer. Loops it around. He's going to have to wait for the field to go by. Brandon Wallace loops it around. Man, what a wild turn of events here in turn number 2. What happened to Brandon Wallace? Did he just see the yellow flag and get loose? Or actually, this was turn 1, not turn 2. Oh, just too much of that sausage curb, loops it around right there. Almost hits Kinder, but able to get it going. So see Eddie Smith running in second. Teammate Jonah Colbert currently running him down in the 3rd position. Take a look at sector times here, and you see Eddie's just a little bit slower than Jonah Colbert is through sectors 1 and sectors 2. So through the 3 sectors of the track, Colbert is continuing to run down Eddie Smith. And Brandon Wallace and Garrett Kinder battling for the last place at the moment. So tough break for Kinder in the last 2 races. Had a good first stage. And then nothing but bad luck for the next couple stages as Jason Lottridge and Tyler Rice are battling. This is a battle for the 9th position. Kevin Kinder says he's run road courses not easy. No, it is definitely not easy. As Jason Lottridge moves himself up into the 10th or 9th position. And then he put well poop in the chat. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough break for Kinder here tonight. But this is Griff getting a little squirrely there off the corner. And this is not an easy track either. This is a very technical Formula 1 track. Not a lot of runoff room. Very technical and tight corners. Especially turn 1, that right-hander up the hill. But unlike Circuit of the Americas, the turn continues up the hill. So a lot of elevation change here at the Red Bull Ring. Even uphill through the chicane or the hairpin right there. As Jonah Colbert continues to try to run down Eddie Smith. Looks like Smith was able to, Jonah was able to get really close to Eddie, but then lap 4, you see, he kind of fell off quite a bit. So watch as this battle heats up between these two. Steve McDonald running down William Griffith for the 7th position. And this time, these two are not letting Cofield get away, even though we know Eddie's looking in the mirror trying to keep that 31 car behind him. They're not letting Cofield get away. But then again, this stage is not as much of a sprint. It's 16 laps as opposed to just 7. So these drivers know what the tires feel like after 7 laps, but that's it. They don't know what the race is going to be like after 7 laps. So trying to save the tires the best they can. Garrett Kinder running on the back bumper of Tyler Rice. Kinder trying to salvage a top 10 finish here. down into the hairpin, and Kinder is going to dive down and take away that 10th position. William Griffith has Steve McDonald still running him down. Oh, Griff through the grass, through the dirt. So that's going to allow both McDonald and Lottridge to go by. And that's 17 seconds back to Garrett Kinder, running back in the 10th position. How about this? Mike Kosick up into the 4th position. Remember, he started dead last in this final stage. Currently up the 4th, and he is the fastest car on the track right now by a lot. Last lap, our leader, Jonathan Cofield, ran a 1:34.89, and Mike Kosick ran a 1:33.90, so a full second faster than the leader. So watch for that 8 car here as the laps wind down, because he is definitely going to be a threat. As Eddie Smith is now gaining on the 58 of Cofield. I think Cofield's backed off just a little bit. He knows that the tires aren't going to last in this longer race than they did in the first race. William Griffith just off track again. Let's see if we can see what happened to the driver of the 12 machine. See him slip slide in behind the 68 of McDonald. And oh, runs into the back of McDonald. Goes off track and tries to keep it out of the beach there, out of the kitty litter, and keeps that car a-rolling. Kosick continuing to put down some blazing laps. Oh, Eddie Smith just got real loose off the corner. So that's going to allow Jonah Colbert and Mike Kosick to get on by. Kosick now trying to work on the 31 of Jonah Colbert. So if Kosick is able to get around Jonah here with 8 laps to go when they cross the line, I think Kosick might be able to run down Cofield here for the win. But we're coming across the line this time for just 8 laps to go. Kosick makes up so much time off these last two corners. And he is within striking distance. He is half a second back from Jonah. And with these long straightaways, it also allows for a little bit of drafting, a little bit of a slipstream. Able to get some speed down the straightaways to run up on the back bumper of Jonah Colbert. Try to take over that second position down towards the hairpin. But Kosick has to clear Jonah Colbert relatively quickly if he wants to have anything left in the tank for Jonathan Cofield. You see the different lines that these two drivers are running. Kosick able to use as much of the track as possible, getting right down through the curbing to try to shorten that track as much as possible. As the field comes down the front stretch for just 7 laps to go, which is the distance of our first races. And Kosick going to try to make the move down into turn number 1. And Kosick's going to outbrake Cobert to take over the second place. Now is Kosick going to have enough time to run down Jonathan Cofield, who has just almost a 3-second lead over these two drivers, and Colbert not giving an inch. He is trying to run back down Kosick. Try to put a little bit of pressure on that 8 machine to force him into an error. And we got a car on pit road. William Griffith making his way down on the pit road. I don't know if this is a scheduled or unscheduled stop. I'm not sure if these drivers are able to make it to the end on fuel. So that could play a strategy here as well, as if other drivers have to make their way down onto pit road. So Garrett Kinder's now moved himself up into the 9th position, getting around Tyler Rice. Trying to run down the 68 of Steve McDonald, who's about 5 seconds in front of Kinder. Right now, Kinder running about the same lap times as McDonald out in front. Tyler Rice having some more issues, just went off track. Currently running in the 10th position. And Jason Lottridge using a little too much racetrack as well. Well, this is what Cofield needs right now. He's got a lap car between himself and Mike Kosick. See, Dave Jones going to move down out of the way to allow Kosick right on by. And Jonah Cobert able to slide through as well. Right now the field pretty much getting spread out here, as you can see by the track map, just where everybody is on track. That green highlighted circled 8 is the 8 car that we are currently looking at, and where he is in relationship to everybody else on track. And they might catch another lap car, the car of Matt Kleeman, before this thing's over, with just 5 laps to go, which would give Kosick even more of an opportunity to try to run down at Daniel Cunningham. But Cunningham starting to gap, put some space between him and Mike Kosick. He's currently 3.5 seconds ahead as he's turned on the turbo boosters now and pulling away from second place. Take a look at the lap times, and you see Kosick's been running pretty much faster lap times the last 5 laps. But everything that Kosick's been gaining, he gave up a little bit in lap 10. So we'll see if See sector times there. Kosick much slower through sector 1, much quicker through sector 2, and then loses a little bit there in sector 3. So here's where Kosick's much better than Cofield's been all race long through this sector, sector 2. It seems like the last couple of laps he's been at least a half a second or better than the 58 of Kosick. We'll see as they come down towards the end of sector 2 how much Mike Kosick's been able to gain on the 58 of Cofield. He loses a little bit of time. So Cofield now growing his gap just a little bit. As we're getting down into turns 9 and 10. What's the sector times look like this time for these two drivers? And that time, Kosick was able to make up quite a bit of time in the third sector. And so he is slowly gaining on Jonathan Cofield. But I don't think it's going to be enough as Dave Jones is around in turn number 10. And Jason Lottridge is now running down the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr. Yeah, looks like Lottridge is running down Stevens. I was just moving to that battle as Lottridge is right there on the back bumper now. This is a battle for 6th and 7th as Lottridge is going to outbreak Stevens. And ooh, a little contact. So we'll move Lottridge up into the 6th position. Meanwhile, Garrett Kinder has run down Steve McDonald, trying to take over that 8th position. And with just 3 laps to go, Mike Kosick has just put down a blazer of a lap as we have 2 laps to go. And he's cut the lead now down to under 2.5 seconds. So that's what 2.5 seconds looks like on the track. Now it's back up to 3.5 seconds. So a couple, the lead here can move. The time between these two drivers can change so much over a course of a lap at this long Red Bull Speedway. Garrett Kinder has caught Steve McDonald. They make their way through turns 9 and 10. Kinder going to get the move down to the inside, coming down the straightaway. He's going to tuck back in line, though, try to get a little bit of a slipstream down to turn number 1. Takes a look down to the inside, has the position into turn 1. We've seen that outside lane able to fight back here off of turn number 1. Can Kinder get close enough to try to battle into the hairpin? No, he's just a little bit too far back at the moment. But as they come up to turns 4 and 5, Kinder, if he can get a good run here, might be able to make a little dive bomb move down into Roush. Not going to be close enough here into turns 4 and 5. And now this is the real technical part of the track through turns 6 and 7 and 8. So this little intersection here is not a place where you can make a pass, but you can gain some time on the driver in front of you, as you see Garrett Kinder doing exactly that, to try to set up a pass. And if you're going to make a pass down into turn number 1, this is where you start to set it up as you make your way down through turns 9 and 10. You see Kinder taking a look down to the inside of turn number 10. And off of turn 10, they're going to drag race down the front stretch as the white flag is in the air. This is the final lap. Kinder down into turn number 1 again. Is he going to be able to outbrake Stevens this time? Stevens fights back on that high side. Oh, contact. Kinder goes down into the grass, and that's going to pretty much do it for Kinder. He's going to have to settle for 9th place up front with just a half a lap to go. Actually, less than a half a lap to go. They're coming off of turns 9 and 10. And Jonathan Cofield is going to take the checkered flag here at the Red Bull ring. Mike Kosick is going to come home in second. Jonah Colbert off of turn number 10. He's going to come home in third. See Eddie Smith coming home in fourth. Daniel Cunningham makes his way down to the stripe. They come home P5. Jason Lottridge off of turn number 10. And he will come home in 6th. Charles Stevens Jr. comes home in 7th. Steve McDonald, who was just battling with Garrett Kinder for that 8th position. So they make their way through turns 9 and down to turn number 10. And McDonald comes home in 8th. Kinder in 9th. And Griff coming home in the 10th position. Brandon Wallace makes his way off of turn number 10, comes home 11th. Tyler Rice will bring it home 12th. Matt Kleeman still has about a half a lap to go, currently in 13th, and then another 26 seconds back to Dave Jones, who, man, that looks like a modified going around this track right now. So Matt Kleeman coming off of turn number 8 down to turns 9 and 10, the last 2 corners of the track. And Kleeman brings it home in the 13th position. And then Davy Jones makes his way to the final 3 corners. Dave Jones, who had a ton of bad luck in this race, down through turn number 10, and he is going to bring it home in the 14th position. So there are your results. Jonathan Cofield gets the win here tonight. Mike Kosick in second. Jonah Colbert in third. Eddie Smith and Daniel Cunningham round out your top 5. See if we can get a word in with our top 3. Starting with our 3rd place finisher, Jonah Colbert. Joni,
Josh, if you're talking, can't hear you.
Yeah, I just realized I had my headset set up. Give me 1 second. You got me now? No. Jody, you got you. Oh man, I don't know why. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Josh, what's going on?
For some reason, my microphone did not want to work here in Discord. But Jonah, congrats on the third place finish here tonight. Man, that was a rough race for a lot of people. The track seemed really, really tricky, but it offered some great racing out here tonight. What was the strategy out there tonight, and what was the racing like from behind the wheel here tonight?
I didn't really have a strategy except for just try not to wreck, but it was kind of tough. We did that on purpose. We kind of mixed things up tonight for the road course. We didn't do qualifying. We just had a random grid, so people were forced to kind of race through the field, and then with the stage breaks, it restacked everybody up, and yeah, people got free resets between the stages, so they were able to send it a little harder than they normally would. It was a lot of fun, and I was a beneficiary of some people spinning out and making mistakes, I guess, and I ended up third. But it was a lot of fun. The track itself, I think, was very fun.
Yeah, it was a very interesting track choice, but I enjoyed watching the racing here tonight. And yeah, beneficiary a little bit, but the stage breaks kind of mix things up a little bit. You had two 7 lap stages, and then that final stage of 16 laps. Did the car handle much differently in that final stage towards the end because you had so many more laps on the tires than in the first two stages?
Yeah, I was actually trying to save my tires that final stage because we'd only run 7 laps at a time before. And after about lap 9, my front tires were they felt like they were gone. Like I know the tire wear wasn't high, but I think there was a lot of heat in them or something. I felt like I was just burning them up because it just didn't want to turn at, the last 8 laps or so. It was just real tough to get around the track for me. First two stages I actually burned up the rear tire, so I did better on that in the third stage. It was a little bit of heat management is what it was because it's a high speed track. You don't really realize how fast you're taking some of those corners, and it definitely wears on those tires and heats them up. So it's really easy to get tight or get loose here. So it is a lot of fun.
Well, for sure. Well, a great finish for you here tonight, bringing home in third. Before we let you go, Jonah, anyone you want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Shout out to Edwards Setup Shop or Edwards Racing Setups. They provided us with the setup tonight so we could run this track, and they'll be providing some of our setups moving forward. So, a big shout out to them. Thanks to Daniel Cunningham for helping me get all this organized and set up, and shout out to Intensity Broadcasting for putting this thing on so we can go back and watch it. Hopefully, we put on a good show for y'all tonight. And yeah, that's it.
For sure. And good luck.
Oh, and one more thing. I just want to shout out to Jonathan Cofield for picking up that win tonight, man. I know that was it's been a long time coming for him, so it's good to see him getting victory lane.
For sure. And good luck next week as you move on to Nashville Fairgrounds. That's going to be an interesting race as well. So looking forward to that one as well, that little short track.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll put on a good show there too.
Good luck next week, and congrats again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
That was your third place finisher, Jonah Cobert. Let's bring in your second place finisher, Mike Kosick. Mike, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, a good finish for you coming home in second, but a tough second stage that really set you back behind the 8 ball. You're able to work your way up through the field. Looked like you might have been a little bit quicker than Cofield at some points there. What was the strategy in that final race to get you up to where you were? And were you hoping you had this a little bit more time, or did you just have nothing for Cofield here that last run?
Well, strategy wise, to get up there was just drive as hard as I could. But by the time I got up there, I burnt my stuff up, and Cofield was fast too. So I mean, it was gonna be tough to catch him regardless.
Yeah, for sure. And again, being stuck behind the eight ball for that because of that second stage, you think if you would have started up front, you might have had something for him?
Yeah, it definitely would have been a fun battle. But you know, it's racing, things happen.
And what was your take on the racing at the track tonight? Because the track seemed like it was very racy, and it seemed like it was difficult to pass, but still provided some great racing as well.
Um, well, I mean, it's a fun track. I'll race this in any car available. So, um, it was tough to pass, but you just had to get your braking points down right and get a good run off the corner. You really had to set it up to turn beforehand, but it was definitely racy. It was fun.
I enjoyed watching it. Again, congrats on the runner-up finish here tonight. And before we let you go, anyone want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Oh yeah, thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Jonah and Daniel for everything they do for the series and all the other admins, and teammates at Bandit Motorsports.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the second place finish, and good luck next week at the fairgrounds.
All right, man, thanks.
That's your second place finisher, Mike Kosick. Let's bring in your winner here tonight, Jonathan Cofield. Jonathan, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Josh.
Second win of the season. Completely different discipline than where you got your first win. And just a wild race in general. Man, the racing out there was incredible. It was fun to watch. And you had yourself a rocket ship out there tonight. Did the clean air kind of help you out there keeping it out front? Or was it just able to save the tires and get out there front and just pull away?
Yeah, I was saving tires for a little bit there. I don't think clean air had anything to do with it. Just try to roll through the corners and get the car as straight as possible so you can rocket off each corner. Track was pretty loose, especially over the hills. You had to kind of ease into the throttle, keep from spinning your tires.
Yeah, we saw quite a few people lose it there on the exit of the corners here tonight, and a little bit of lap traffic too to kind of make it interesting there. Where I mean, the lap traffic seemed very cordial and stayed out of the way, but did that kind of concern you a little bit? Because Kosick was flying there at the end.
Yeah, Kostick should have won this race. He's my teammate over at Bandits. He was fast in practice. He's a road guy. Just had a unlucky circumstance. I think a lap car or somebody he was coming up on in the second stage or something crashed, so he had to start in the back and work his way through. But yeah, Eddie and Jonah got back there kind of battling, and I was watching my mirror more than I was driving. I shouldn't have, but couldn't quite get a rhythm down. Then I finally started just paying attention to the racetrack, and seen Kostick coming up through there, but I think he just burned his stuff off too much having to start from, I think it was 13th.
Yeah, he start dead last on the field and ended up driving to P2. So great job for the whole team for you guys tonight, Bandit Motorsports. Before we let you go here, Jonathan, anyone you want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
Oh yeah, you guys for doing the broadcast, intensity broadcasting, all the admins in this league, Bandits Motorsports, all my teammates had a good run tonight, and I'm ready to get in ARCA car, see if I can do it again.
There you go. Where are you guys running the ARCA car? Are you back here at this track or?
Darlington.
Oh, interesting. So that'll be a fun track for you. So enjoy your race at Darlington. Good luck next week here at National Fairgrounds. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir, Josh. You do a great job, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
You too.
So that was your winner here tonight, Jonathan Cofield. We want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and joining us here from the Red Bull Ring with the Original Rebels Racing League Grand National Series here on iRacing. Don't forget, like, follow, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out our web store and support us here at intensitybroadcasting.com. You can find hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs for us, as well as Atlee Atman Weiss. You can find his racing merch there as well. Don't forget to check out our race sponsor here tonight, Edwards Setup Stops. Don't forget to check out thebuttkicker.com for all your racing haptics needs. And as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and out.